Alright guys, so here are my notes on factoring a trinomial. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to factor a trinomial, or a polynomial with how many terms? What does tri sound like? 3 terms, into 2 binomials, or a polynomial with 2 terms, right? So let's take a look at a problem that we've been working with. Something like example 1 that says factor x to the 4th plus 2x squared plus 2. You should be able to do this from last notes that we just did. Remember, to factor, we need to find the greatest common factor of the 3 terms. For this problem, it is x. And the reason that it's x is I can pull an x out of each one of these, and I can't pull any numbers out because these ones have 2's, but this one doesn't. So it's going to be x, parentheses, and what do I need to multiply x by to get x to the 4th? X to the 3rd. What do I need to multiply x by to get 2x squared? And what do I need to multiply x by to get 2x? Hopefully you know it's just the number 2. All right, so same exact thing with example 2. Let's take a look at this one. What's the biggest thing that I can pull out of 6p to the 3rd and 6p squared? It is 6p squared. So 6p squared times what will give me 6p to the 3rd? I'm just missing a p. And 6p squared times what will give me 6p squared? Well, it's already there. So the only thing I need to multiply it by is 1. All right? What's different with example 3, though? So take a look at it for a second. See if you can figure out what's different between example 3 and maybe like example 1. Hopefully you've noticed that this one doesn't have an x. And there's no number that I can pull out of each one of them, so the GCF of these 3 things is 1. So when this is the case, we're going to do something a little bit differently today. I said in the beginning we're going to break this up into 2 different binomials. Now we've done sort of the opposite of that this year. When I've given you something like this, and I've said to you, okay, let's multiply this stuff together, and you're going to get something that looks like this. So we're doing the opposite of that today. Today I'm going to give you this, and you're going to bring me back to here. So the rest of these notes is going to be all about that. So on the next page, when we flip, I'm going to have a couple examples for us. And it's honestly really, really easy. It's just something that you got to remember. So the process for this is you need to think of factors of 10, factors of this guy, that will add to give you 7. Okay, so let's think of some factors of 10 that sum to 7. So what are some factors of 10? Well, I got 1 and 10, and I got 2 and 5. Those are the 2 that really pop out in my head. So which ones add to give me 7? 2 and 5, obviously. So I know, because I'm doing the opposite of this, that I need to set up this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up 2 different binomials. Okay? And 2 and 5. And how am I going to get x squared? What do I need to multiply to get x squared? Hopefully you know it's x times x. And the last step is that this sign always goes on the biggest one. So because it's positive, I get a positive 5. Now, to get 7, do I need to add 2 or subtract 2? Hope you know I need to add 2. All right? And now that's it. Now it says down here check, so we could do that. We could set up a little box and multiply these guys and do x plus 2 and x plus 5. And x is x squared, just like we said. 2 and x is 2x. X and 5 is 5x. And 2 times 5 is positive 10. Does everyone see how I'll get x squared? I'll get 7 x's from right here. And obviously I have the 10. Okay, and that's really it. That's as hard as it gets. Let's do another one just like that. We might mess up some signs a little bit here. So I need factors of 18 that add to give me 9. So let's think of some factors of 18 that add to give me 9. So 1 and 18 obviously do not add to give me 9. 2 and 9, do they add to give me 9? No, 2 plus 9 is 11. Let's go 3 and 6. Do they add to give me 9? They do. So that's going to be my two different binomials. One is going to be 6. One is going to be 3. And x squared obviously is made by multiplying x by x. So I'm all done setting that up. The hard part now is just figuring out the signs. Just like before, this one goes on the bigger one. So I know that should get a minus sign. How am I going to get to minus 9 from there? By adding 3 or by taking away 3 from negative 6? Well, because it's already negative, I need to take away 3 more to get to negative 9. And if you don't believe me, let's do this. I'll do double distribution this time. X times x gives me x squared. X times negative 6 gives me negative 6x. I'll switch up the color. Negative 3 times x gives me negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 6 gives me positive 18. Does everyone see how the x squared matches up? How the negative 9x from those two, and then obviously the 18. So here is my answer. Okay? Alright, so down here we got a bunch for us to try. I'll do, this one's pretty easy. I'll do number 2 with us, and I'll have you guys try 3, 4, and 5. So let's do number 2 together. One more for us to do together. So I need some factors of 20, it's this guy, that add to give me 9. Okay, so let's think of some factors of 20 that add to give me 9. Well, first one that I can think of is 2 and 10. Do they add to give me 9? The sum is 12. Another one that I can think of is 1 and 20. That one's pretty easy, right? But that obviously doesn't add to give me 9, and it adds to give me 21. And then the last one, hopefully you're shouting it out by now, 4 and 5 adds to give me 9. So I know that my two answers are going to be x and something with 4 and x and something with 5. Last thing I need is I need this sign to go in the bigger one, negative 5. So what do I need to do with the 4? Make it a positive 4 or a negative 4 to make it get to negative 9? Hopefully you know that it's negative 4, because now I'll have negative 4 and negative 5, which is negative 9. That's it. So would you guys please try these 3, pause the video to give yourself some time to do it, unpause it to check your answers after. All right, so let's do these. I know right away, just from doing these every single time, that I'm going to start out with x and x. I need the factors of 12 that add to give me 13. Isn't it just 1 and 12? This goes on the bigger one, so that's a plus 12, and to get to 13, I need to add 1 more. So it should be x plus 1, x plus 12. Obviously, the order does not matter. All right, let's do the same thing with number 4. Number 4, I got, again, x, x, and I need factors of 50 that add to give me 15. Well, that's 5 and 10. And that needs to go on the bigger one, so positive 10. So if that goes in the bigger one, to get to 15, I need to add 5 more. Last but not least, let's do this one. Again, you're going to start it off the same way each time, x and x. Factors of 36 that add to give me 13. This one's a little bit tougher. I'm thinking 9 and 4. 9 and 4. This goes on the bigger one. So if it goes on the bigger one, I end up getting a negative 9. And to get to negative 13, I need to take 4 more away. All right? Let's turn the page. We got one more little page for us to do, and then you guys can try some homework or try some work on your own. So it gets a little bit tougher when I throw a minus sign right here. But again, if you follow what I've been saying the whole entire time, it's the factors of 20 that do this. So now it's going to be subtract to give you 8. So let's think of the factors of 20 that subtract to give us 8. Again, I know it's going to be x and x. I'm going to prep that so I have less thinking to do. So what are some factors of 20? Obviously 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Do any of those subtract to give you 8? 20 minus 1 is 19. 10 minus 2 is 8. Oh, so it's probably going to be that one right there. So I got 10, and I got 2. And just like before, this one goes on the bigger. That's why that's helpful. That's why I've been pointing that out this whole entire time. So if I have a plus 10, what more do I need to do to get to 8? Do I need to add 2 or take away 2? Obviously, I need to take away 2, because then 10 minus 2 is 8. If you really wanted to check it, we'll check just one of these. I'll do this one for us. I'm going to do the box method again, because I like that a little bit more. X minus 2, x plus 10. That's obviously x squared, minus 2x, positive 10x, and minus 20. So everyone say the minus 20 comes from right there. Obviously the x squared comes from right there. And when I combine these two, 10 minus 2 is 8, which is what it does. One more for us to try together here, and then I'm going to have you guys try some of these on our own, or on your own. Let's do factors of 28 that subtract to give us 3. Well, the big thing that pops out in my head with 28 has always been 7 and 4. Do they subtract to give us 3? 7 minus 4 is obviously 3, so I'm going to put a 7 and a 4. This always goes on the bigger one. So if I have a minus 7, what do I need to do to make it minus 3? Do I need to take away 4 more, or do I need to add 4? Obviously add 4. All right? So I have 5 of us, or 5 of them to do down here. Why don't you guys do just... why don't you just do 7, 9, and 10 for me. 7, 9, and 10. So pause the video, try 7, 9, and 10, and unpause it when you think you've got it. Alright, so hopefully that's enough time for you to get to the pause button. I need the factors of 4 that subtract, I don't even like this word sum right here, that subtract to give us 3. What are some factors of 4? Well, 2 and 2, but they subtract to give us 0. So that doesn't work out. But how about 4 and 1? Well, that's obviously 3, right? So now when I do that, I got x, I got 4 and 1, and this one always goes on the bigger. So how do I get to a minus 3 if I have a minus 4 right now? Add 1. All right, let's try these two. Again, I'm going to do that x thing. And I'm going to figure out the factors of 14 that subtract to give me 5. Isn't that just 7 and 2? 7 times 2, 14, and 7 minus 2, 5. And this always goes on the bigger. So minus 7, and I need to add 2 to get to minus 5. Last one, and then I'm done. X. Factors of 45 that subtract to give me 4. That's going to be 9 and 5. Minus sign. Actually, this one goes in the bigger one. So plus 9. So I need to take 5 away to get it down to 4. All right, that's it. There's our 2 binomials. On the next page, we have some stuff for you guys to practice. So that's it, and thanks for watching.